Hi, I'm Rob Kuter. I'm the Director of Menu Development for Sage Dining Services. Happy holidays, everybody. Today, we're going to be making a really fun side dish for any of your holiday meals. This is a really cool, trendy thing, a Hasselback Butternut Squash. What is that? Well, it's very simple. We're going to take a butternut squash. I have a half of one right now. You can buy this already peeled. A lot of the markets already have it. You can buy a whole butternut at your local farmer's market. You can peel it whatever you want to do, whatever is easiest for you. So basically, real simple. I'm going to take this half butternut, and this is super simple. I'm going to put it on an untreated sheet tray. I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to brush it. All right, so I got my butternut lightly oiled. I'm going to put it into a 375-degree oven for about 15-20 minutes. We want to soften this up. So, while the butternut's in the oven, I'm going to take a bowl, whisk, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 1/4 cup of honey. And when I use honey for baking, for anything like this, I heat it up. I heat it up in the microwave, or I'll put it in a little metal cup or metal bowl on the stove, and it just makes it easier to mix in, and it makes all the containers cleaner, okay? So I got my honey. We're going to go in with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, okay? So that's going in. And what we're doing is we're making a little bit of a dressing, okay? So next, I'm going to have 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Okay, we're going to get this into the bowl. Okay, now I have 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped thyme. You don't want to use dry for this. Fresh is so much better. You will notice the difference. So it doesn't have to be fine chopped, just rough chop it. I'm going to get that into the bowl. Next, I'm going to go in with 1 teaspoon of salt. This does not have a lot of salt in it, so this is a great light recipe. Okay, get the salt in there. Next, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. And then this is where it gets fun. Usually when you have butternut squash, you've got cinnamon, you've got nutmeg, you've got clove. It's the same seasonings that are in pumpkin pies, the same seasonings that go in sweet potatoes. So just everything kind of tastes the same. We're going to take a little bit of a different takeaway on this. The preparation's fun, but the seasonings as well. We're going in with 2 teaspoons of balsamic vinegar. Don't skimp on this. If you can get a good balsamic, it's going to make all the difference in the world. It's going to bring that nice depth of flavor, the richness that we want to this. So 2 teaspoons of really good balsamic. Okay? Then we're just going to lightly whisk this around. So it's going to almost look and taste like a really good balsamic vinaigrette, but just not as dark. But we got a lot of strong flavors here. And the reason for that is once we go to treat the butternut, we're going to be basting the squash with this, and we want to bring a lot of strong flavors at once so that once we cook it, it's really going to caramelize. It's just going to bring us some nice, fun flavors for the holiday. Okay? So that's what we have. Not too dark. The smell is fantastic. So here's our butternut. It's been in the oven for about 15-20 minutes just to soften. We just want to soften it. We don't want to fully cook it. We're going to put it back in until it's cooked, and you're going to see the process. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to go out onto a cutting board with this. So this is where the technique is going to get fun, okay? So you have a couple of options here. I like to use chopsticks. You got to have plenty of them from going out for dinner. You can buy them in the store. You can use chopsticks. We need a guide, okay? So you can put the chopsticks on either side like this. It's going to give it a little bit of a lower cut, so you got to kind of be careful. If you're not comfortable going that deep and that low with a knife, and you're not comfortable using knives, just take 2 rubber spatulas that you have in the house. You want something that's just the same thickness that runs the length of the squash. Put them in opposite directions. That way you have the same flow, okay? And basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut thin slices, but we're not going all the way through, okay? So I'm going to take it in my hands. I'm going to cut my fingers. I'm going to keep my thumb behind the rest of my fingers, and I'm just going to saw through, okay? And we're just lightly cutting down like this. We're not going all the way through, okay? And see, it's going to start to want to fall apart, but that's okay. It's not going to go. It's going to stick together. And we're just going to make all these slits in it. And you want to use a serrated knife. Let the knife do the work. Don't try to force this. Just let the knife work its way down slowly. Long sawing motion, okay? So we're cutting through and we're making these really cool cuts. And as we start to cook this, that dressing that we made, we're going to baste it as it cooks. And what it's going to do is it's going to get down deep in here, and the top is going to be caramelized. The bottom's going to be soft. It's a really great presentation. It's got a lot of wow factor when you bring it to the table. And it's just something different than what everybody usually does. All right, so now we get it all cut. See how the cuts are all consistent? You take a spatula. I'm going to go back onto the tray with it. Okay. So here's that dressing that we made. I'm going to take this from the oil, stir it around. I'm just going to baste this right now. I'm going to put a beginner coat of glaze on here. Okay. And don't worry about being thick, be a little, not enough. It's all going to end up on here at some point. And whatever doesn't get used is going to be a final drizzle onto the platter. And this is just a really fun dish. Okay? So to help this, I don't want it to stick to the bottom because of the honey. I'm going to put a little water on the pan. This is just going to kind of help it steam, and it's going to help it from sticking to the pan later. Okay? So we're going to go back into the oven. Okay, that's going to be in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. We're going to let that cook, and then when we're going to take it out, and we're just going to baste it a couple more times with this dressing. Once it's done, we're going to get a nice plate later. And what I have here is some toasted hulled pumpkin seeds, pepitas. I got a little bit of fresh thyme and a little bit of fresh sage. Right? If you want, I mean, again, there's no rules. This is cooking. It's not a science. Just go with what works. You can put some of these herbs on the pan with the water. It'll help perfume it while it cooks. Again, completely up to what you want to do. You want to put rosemary, you can do rosemary. A lot of these flavors are interchangeable. So it's been 10 minutes. I'm just going to baste it again, getting all this great marinade all over it. Okay, and so as this cooks, it's starting to open up. You can see it's starting to, the cuts that we made are starting to separate, and this marinade is going to start seeping in and getting right to the bottom, and it's going to caramelize on the top. This is fun. It's great. So again, we had water on here originally. Just you want to keep some water on the pan so it keeps it from sticking later on. I still got a pretty good amount in it, so I'm just going to leave that for now. So it's been about a half hour. Every 10, 12 minutes, I've been taking it out, basting it, making sure I have a good amount of water on the pan so that we don't want this to stick, because the sugar burning, it's no bueno. Okay, so I got a long spatula. Just going to slide it right under and right to the end. There we go. Going to go right onto our platter with this. Okay, move this to the side. I'm just going to take a little bit of the basting that's left, just a little bit that hasn't been cooked, so it's got a lot of that strong flavor and it hasn't caramelized yet. Just going to put another coat on it, just reintroducing the flavor, just really pumping it up a little bit. Okay. Now we got, like I said earlier, we got some toasted pepita seeds, pumpkin seeds. I'm just going to put a little over the top, and you can do this as much or as little as you want. Again, if you can have nuts, if you want to do this with nuts, pecans would be fantastic with this. Some slivered roasted almonds would be really good as well. So I'm going to put a little bit of sage on here. Around, there we go. And then just got some fresh thyme just to decorate this up to bring it to the table.